You
I'm living wins, the gimmick and wins from beginning to end. No gimmick if I rep it, dude, I live it then. And you can't do it, so ain't no need for mimicking. I'm not innocent, I'm on a mission, so let me finish it. Matter of time before they summon the army in. I'm probably on the FBI's most wanted list. I'm probably going to hung like an ornament. I'm on a life mission to abolish all the government. Look around and tell me what you say, because it's coming down, coming down. Are you listening? Stop and look, this is what I made. Yeah, it's going down, it's going down. Open your eyes. The state you're in is a state of mind. Freedom disguised. The state you're in is a state of mind.
What's up? What's up? How's it going, everybody? We are back here on the Liberty Hour. It has been quite some time. We are still in the quarantine era of the coronavirus. In month 3 now. It's crazy how fast time has gone by, but at the same time, how slow time is kind of going as well. Well, obviously, staying inside, not getting to go out and do as much. But it's been a while, and I wanted to bring this back. So we have got another episode today for you guys. We've got Ricky and Michael on yet again, and we actually have Kasey on yet again onto the show. So we'll be talking about a lot of things with them today. Some stuff about, reopenings that have been going on recently. Also just, some general updates and all that kind of stuff. But I've wanted to say, if you guys actually wanted to take a look and binge watch some of these podcasts, you guys can go to my YouTube channel at A2Jack. I finally have everything saved into one playlist of all the podcasts. So if you ever want to binge watch anything or go watch a specific podcast, just go there to my YouTube channel and you should be able to see a playlist for all of that. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and get into it. So I guess I'll go ahead and introduce my guests on the show today. Michael, Ricky, and Kasey, how are you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing?
No cap.
Doing pretty good. Doing good. What about
right.
you, Ricky? How's everything going with you?
doing all right, bro? Doing all right.
Cool.
Everything's been good.
Yeah, and like I said, I know it's been a couple months since we've done one of these, and I know you guys were on the last one as well. Since then, a lot of stuff has changed. There has been a lot of stuff that has been getting reopened. Michael, I know that you are now, for like this last week, have been working at Ross. You're back working at Ross now, and I know that you told me about some things that they're doing there, like face masks, and they're doing some things like gloves. We were talking a little bit earlier about how there's some stuff on the ground with social distancing and stuff. I guess a question that I have for you is, I know you're happy to be back working, but do you feel like safe out there? Are you worried at all with everything reopening? Just kind of what's your thought on being back at work? Are you more happy and feel positive about it, or do you feel like there's any downsides at all?
I'm different than most people because I feel like nothing should be closed in the first place. But that's just my personal opinion. I have my reasons for that. So I'm not worried about being out there whatsoever. I'm just worried that other people are making more money than me, not working. But at the same time, I'm not getting unemployment so far yet. And I don't even know why, because their call service centers are so backed up. But in terms of if they're doing a good job or not, in terms of social distancing and sanitariness, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. They're trying. I'll give them that. But no one really keeps their distance. No one really is being sanitary. And the effort is there, though.
And that's important. It's going to be a test trial for, I think, a lot of businesses once they reopen. You're seeing a lot of restaurants that are reopening back up for dine-in services can only allow about 25 to 30% capacity and stuff like that. But, you brought up, a good point, which is, there's some people on unemployment that are making more, which is a big issue because we still haven't sorted out the whole issue of hazard pay and stuff like that. But But, you also brought up the fact that, some centers, like unemployment centers, are so backed up. And we just saw, there were 2 million more unemployment claims this last week, which brings the total up to about 40 million or so over these last 10 weeks. Now, the unemployment rate's going to be interesting to see because a lot of people are going back to work. But, I definitely don't think that we've handled this crisis as good as we could have. It's nice to see some people going back to work. My only issue, and I mentioned this to some people, is I don't know if we're going to see the same demand for quite some time for people to go back to these businesses. I know that from what you've told me, Ross has been packed quite a bit this last week because, it's the first week it's been reopened. I just worry that places that are, right when they open, it will boom for a bit, but I worry that they're going to be able to keep near the same demand that they would have if this were not going on, and how they will be able to survive because of that.
No cap.
All right, okay. Ricky, I know that today you kind of were, I don't know exactly everything that you've done outside necessarily these last couple of months, but I know today you mentioned you went out to some businesses and stuff and you had to do some shopping and all that kind of stuff. My question, I guess I have for you is, a big thing that we've been seeing is, with these places that are reopening, they're recommending people, wear masks and stuff like that. People keeping their distance. When you were out at all these places, did you see a lot of people wearing masks? Was there a lot of people that weren't wearing masks? Did you see, like, at most stores, I know you mentioned Ross, but other stores, did you see, like, social distancing, like, stuff on, like, the grounds? Explain to me how it was kind of like to get out in the world and go to, like, some of these other stores.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, let me just say, getting out in the world was crazy, dude. The second I walked out, I felt the sun again for the first time in like 3 weeks after being quarantined at home. No, but jokes aside, honestly, dude, a lot of people were wearing masks in the beginning, and now it's like 50-50. Like, because I went to Walmart, and what they do there is, like, on the floor, they just say, hey, in this aisle, don't go this way, and then enter this way, or do not enter on this aisle. Like, you're supposed to go one way in one direction. But nobody cares. They're just like, I'm not going to walk all the way around just to go right here to grab a loaf of bread. Everybody just does whatever they want. There's like no social distancing in Walmart or Target. Everybody's just like shoulder bumping by the cash register, looking for clothes, and everybody's just putting their hands on everything still. And all the, what's it called? All the hand sanitizer and like all the wet ones, disinfecting wipes, all that stuff is still cleaned off the shelves to this day. It's still hard to find that stuff. And at Sam's Club, I went like a week and a half ago with my family to Sam's Club, and they were selling hand sanitizer for like $6. Just like those bottles, what's normally supposed to be like $2 or $3 is like $6. And then those little mini ones you can't find anywhere pretty much, or at least I haven't been able to find them anywhere. I still go out to Target. I still wear a mask. And whenever I go put in gas, I'll still take like a mechanic glove because I don't want to touch the nozzle because I'm paranoid that they don't clean those nozzles, and everybody touches those things when they go put in gas. Like people out in the country, people doing dirty work, people like just disinfecting people from like everywhere, Nobody really, I feel like nobody pays attention to how gross those things can be. So I'll always be using a glove for that. But for the most part, half the people are still wearing masks, half the people are still paranoid, but a lot of people are just like, whatever, they don't care. And then they're just like walking by each other like, yeah, whatever, excuse me. Nobody's like, oh, okay, keep your social distancing. Even some of the employees are just like, yeah, like whatever. All right, have a nice day. All right, cool. All right, bye. Like they don't like really enforce it as much anymore. But in the beginning, everybody was like super paranoid about it. I don't know. Did you ever go out, Aaron? I don't know. Did you ever go out?
I did. And actually, I'll get into something kind of related to what you said in a second. And when it comes to Walmart and other places in general, but one thing I wanted to say real quick is I know you said you were looking for like certain supplies and stuff. I don't know if you mentioned sanitizer or stuff like that. But ironically, a place you can find some of that I actually have been to that I've seen is Home Depot. Out of all places, it sounds really weird, but they actually have a fair amount that I saw at least when I went to Home Depot one time.
What?
Oh, yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm like, no, because I went to Jamba Juice with Aaliyah too, and like at the cash register at Jamba Juice, they actually have like a little bin with hand sanitizer for like $3. So I do take that
to
back.
Sell? Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, dude, Jamba Juice sells hand sanitizer.
Of all places.
For $3.
Hey, man, they're going to profit any way they can off it, and hey, I'm all for it. But
where there's a demand, there's a market.
Exactly. Yeah. You were saying about you asked if I had been out, Ricky. Well, when was it? I'd say probably actually this was earlier on. This was probably like mid-April, maybe even early April. I went, actually did early birthday shopping for my mom. It was after I went golfing at a course in Antelope. And I went to a Walmart there to get some stuff for my mom. And I realized that people were kind of just like airheaded, just walking around, not caring about where they were at or whatever, stuff like that. I really don't think, I mean, in some respects, I think it has changed a lot of things. I really don't think that really people have taken it as seriously, as at least it was recommended to take it. Now, and this is going to kind of get into our broader discussion, but before I get into that broader discussion, I actually wanted to bring Kasey in on this because, Kasey, you live in Sac County, which has a lot more cases and a lot more, it's a lot more out there than Placer County is. Placer County has less than 200. Sac has like something around like 1,500 or whatever. I don't know how much you've been out or if you've been able to go out to any places while this has been going on, but what have you seen in Sac County when it comes to how serious people have been taking this? Have you been seeing a lot more people, wearing masks and socially distancing or staying inside? Have you seen a lot of people that really don't care about it as well? Kind of what are you seeing out in Sac County when it comes to this?
Same thing in Sacramento. It's kind of 50-50. Like when I go to the grocery store, they take it pretty seriously and everyone's wearing masks. But for the most part, I live in an apartment complex, so people were like still having people over. I noticed that people were like standing outside of their apartments and hanging out in groups sometimes. So they were like taking it seriously, but also not taking it seriously, if that makes sense. Only some things were partaken in protection, but I've been back to work as of last week at the mall, and the mall isn't actually opening until this Friday, but my store has been open for curbside pickup. So me and my manager, we just work in the store for 6 hours waiting for people to call and say they want to pick up an outfit or something. But in the past 5 days, we've had only like 3 people actually do the curbside pickup. So we basically spent 5 days in a row for 6 hours steaming clothes, cleaning the store, and literally no one partakes in the curbside pickup. But all the stores are opening up. It's super weird being in the mall because it's only security and some people trying to open their stores back up. But for the most part, only mine and like 4 other stores have actually been in doing stock and storage. So it's going to be interesting seeing all the stores try to open up at once this Friday.
Yeah, and I know that they're going to be doing that at Arden. So I forget, are you at Arden or Galleria? I forget which one.
I'm at Arden.
You're at Arden, because I know that the all of Arden, as you mentioned, is going to be opening up Friday, and maybe because it wasn't fully open, that might have to do with the fact there wasn't a lot of people. I don't know what it's going to be like on Friday, but that gets into my worry with the whole demand thing is because, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to restaurants, fortunately they can still do, curbside, they can still do delivery and people can pick up and stuff, but they're only going to have 25 to 30% capacity, and restaurants can barely survive off the 100% demand they had before this thing happened. And now, not only do you have the limited capacity for those restaurants to be able to allow those people in, but also I've seen polls that have come out that say only 45 to like 48% of people feel safe to actually go out to restaurants, and it's actually even lower for malls. My worry is that they're not going to be able to survive on that demand. As I mentioned, they do have the pickup and delivery, but it's basically like putting a Band-Aid on a gashing wound, and I worry how they're going to be these small businesses and stuff are going to be able to survive. So hopefully you do see some more customers to where you can actually be somewhat busy in your job. I know Topgolf, even though I haven't gotten any word of a date that we're necessarily opening quite yet, I know that there was a location, I believe in Texas, that had 1,300 people in a day. And while it sounds like a lot, we usually do have more than that in certain days. But, it's nice to see that some people want to get back out. But it's definitely not going to be close to the same demand. One thing I will say, though, is that if one thing for sure that you had a lot of people was at the American River and places this last Memorial Day. What was it, Monday or it was Sunday? It was either Sunday or Monday. I went to go play disc golf in Folsom, and I went over to Sac, and as I was driving, I saw tons of people on the American River, and I saw tons of people at Folsom Lake, and it's stuff like that where it's like, I do think that we need to reopen because we're not going to have a vaccine anytime soon for this thing. But I just worry that if people aren't super responsible when it comes to certain things like distancing and stuff, as we mentioned with the stores, and as it comes to things like that, that it could lead to a second wave and a second spike. And we're actually seeing in multiple states that the cases have actually risen. I believe 17 states. So it'll be interesting to see how things continue. When we continue to reopen, it's going to be interesting to see how cases and how deaths and how all that rate kind of stays. But it's just going to be a matter of time. We'll just have to see. I'll get your guys' thoughts on what I just said. We'll be talking about a lot more stuff on the Liberty Hour right after this. We'll be right back for part 2 on the A2 Jack YouTube channel. Stay tuned.